was more surprised, your teachers that you graduated or yourself?
Probably me, because they knew they were doing their job.
In 1978, here you are. You leave this first capital of Ohio and you embark on some big stuff down in Nashville.
Yeah.
But you made a name for yourself before you made it to Nashville, didn't you?
Well,
Locally, anyway.
well, I started playing music, as a very young man. My first gig was 10 years old. I entered a talent contest at Masseyville Elementary, and I won it. I was in 6th grade, 10 years old, and that's kind of where I got the bug. From then on, that's all I ever wanted to do. And of course, formed some bands as I grew up, and we played around here locally, and we were very blessed to get to know so many people and get so many opportunities, because a lot of folks that young don't get that kind of opportunities. They booked me at the Ross County Fair. I remember we opened for Ernest Tubb, and that was huge for me, as a kid. So I've just been very blessed to watch everything grow. Graduated from OU. I wanted to get my degree before I went to Nashville, and the minute I graduated, within 8 weeks, I was living in Nashville.
Take us back to when you first heard your record on the radio, what that had to feel like, and then to sell not just one record, but millions of them.
Well, I've been blessed more than I deserve, that's for sure. I will never forget the first big hit I had that I had written. It was a group called Wild Rose. They were an all-girl band, and they were just starting out in Nashville, and they had recorded a song of mine called Breaking New Ground. And they were going to be interviewed on WSM radio as the debut of the single. And so I knew that what was going on. I knew the girls were there, and I was driving, and I had my oldest daughter with me, and she was only like 4 years old. She would have been 4 or 5 years old. And we were going to the dentist. She was with me. And so as we're going to the dentist, the girls come on, and they're starting to do the interview, and they're talking to them. We pull into the parking lot, and I said, "We can't go in yet, honey. I got to hear, I got to hear what's going on." So they finished the interview. They played the song, which just brought tears to my eyes. Hear your song on WSM radio, right? And my little girl was just precious. As soon as the song was over, she said, "Well, Daddy, I guess you finally got that hit you've been looking for." So I'll never forget that moment. And but it never gets old. And every time I was at the Opry 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there's a brand new country artist named Emily Ann Roberts. She's got she recorded 2 of my songs on her new album. And she's been managed by Narvel Blackstock, who is Blake Shelton's manager. But anyway, she invited me out to the Opry because she was going to sing one of the songs I wrote on the Opry, and Vince Gill and Ricky Skaggs were going to sing it with her because they sang on the record with her. And so you just never get tired of that. It's just every single opportunity like that is such a blessing. And that was a real Opry moment for me to get to hear that. But all these years later, it's just still, it's a blessing, and I just never get tired of it.
I was last in Ryman Auditorium back in like 1978.
Oh, wow.
So I was just a kid.
Yeah, you were.
It was something to be in the crowd, in the auditorium. What's it like to be on stage and be behind stage?
Oh, wow. Well, the Opry is a whole different level of nervousness. I mean, the first time I was ever on was 40 years ago. Porter Wagner had me on, and the problem for me is I start thinking about all the people who have stood there before, because at the new Opry House, I call it the new Opry House. It's been there since the mid 70s, but they for those that don't know, they cut out a big circle of the Ryman Auditorium, and it's right center stage of the new Opry House. So when you stand in that circle, you're standing where Ernest Tubb stood, you're standing where Hank Williams stood, and all these incredible legendary artists. And I started thinking about that the first time I was on there, and I got dry mouth so bad I was just licking my lips trying to sing. It was so funny, but that's a very hallowed place. It's a very special event center. It's just one of those things that you dream of doing growing up. But even now, we being here today, I was standing there thinking, I would rather be singing in front of 5,000 people right now that I don't know than speaking in front of just a few people that I do know. So there's a little, if you're not if you don't get a little nervous, there's probably something wrong with you. But I still enjoy it, and I'm going to keep doing this as long as I can.